Oh, you caught us. We're talking about geography with our next guest. Finally joining us today on the couch for an interesting conversation, Gregory Ojefua, also known as Greg. Greg.
Greg.
It's Jeffrey. It's going to be Greg anyway. Greg Ojefua. Now, he's an actor.
Yes, he's
and much
also
more.
a comedian, a voiceover artist, he's a Compere MC. He's also a translator. That one I'm interested in. He's known for his comic movie roles and, of course, for playing Ojukwu in movies. Great to have you in the studio.
Great to have you, Greg. Welcome. Good to have you here.
You know, I said I'm very interested in the translator part. What do you translate?
I translate pidgin to English, so and vice versa.
Nice.
So if you have scripts, if you have adverts and all that, so you know, there's pidgin and there's even pidgin has corrupted versions of it.
Yeah.
So, but most people know that the authentic pidgin is the Warri vibe.
Okay, and that's you can do that. Did you grow up in Warri?
Basically, no, I grew up in Lagos.
So how do you get that Warri vibe going?
I schooled in Benin, and you know, so Benin you had all sorts, basically, and in Benin the lingua franca mostly on campus.
It's pidgin English.
It's pidgin, you know.
You're gonna do one for us. You're gonna do because I love it when they do all those. Because I'm a voiceover artist myself. Oh, that pidgin English, you know. It's like,
no, he is a tush voiceover artist.
Yeah, I can tell.
Like yes, Masino would never do. Ross, what's it? You hear Masino? Ross, what's in the worry you?
How would they do you for that?
the money is there. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
Right.
Well, let's talk about you in movies, man. I've seen you in movies. I've seen you play the bad guy in movies. I've seen you play the comic guy in movies. I especially love you as the bad guy. Can't remember the one where it was you in a car, and then it was. I just have that picture of you in my mind. You got into movies when, and what is your most memorable role that you've ever played?
Okay, first of all, the nickname or screen name, brand name is Greg Teddy Bear Ojefua.
There you go.
It's very important. Everyone knows a teddy bear. Am I right? Or am I right? All right. And I got into movies first in 2008. Then I did a couple. I did about 6 titles. Then I took a break. Then I came back fully again in 2013. And since then it's been, you know, a blast. And my most memorable movie till date would be playing General Ojukwu in the short film Encounter. And recently in a feature-length movie yet to premiere, The Other Side of History.
Nice.
Encounter is a short film, about 24 minutes. Then the Other Side of History, it should be well over 2 hours or thereabouts.
Nice.
Wow,
nice.
so it looks like you've cornered that Ojukwu personality.
Yeah.
Yes, I dare say I'm the only actor in history who's played him, not just once,
But
twice.
Right, really? What was playing him like? I'm so sorry.
Go
What was playing him like? I mean, did you have to like enter that character, and how did you do research for that character? Because he's a very iconic Nigerian general. You know, no small person can play Ojukwu is my point.
Yes, I think having to say enter the character, I wouldn't do justice to it. I had to be him as much as possible, not just because he is not a fictional character, he's a real person, but the sentiments that surround him. I just told myself, you have no choice but just to kill yourself being this man, so that at the end of the day, you would leave no room for doubt to the amount of work that you put into it. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. I scoured YouTube everywhere.
How did you get his accent going?
YouTube.
He has a very peculiar accent.
Yes, it's not just British English, it's actually Queen's English.
There you go.
So it's more royal, there's more class.
Regal.
The way, you know. So that was, for me, was the major research point, getting that accent right, getting the cadence, you know, his mannerisms, smoking style. He's just it was a very grand personality. You know, never rushed things, you know, just enjoyed life, enjoyed every minute that ticked away. So it was hard work. It was till date. And I'm hoping that, you know, when The Other Side of History comes out, I wouldn't disappoint.
Okay,
we don't
so
expect
as an actor, for some people, they get into acting through passion.
Yes.
Some people, it's something they study at school. Or some people, it's accidental.
Yes.
Which route did you take?
Passion, actually. Growing up, I always loved the arts. My mom, before she retired, was an arts major, English history. she taught that. So we had a mini shelf library in the house with all Shakespearean classics and the like. So from very tender age, about 8 in primary school, I was already reading those books. And back in my time, we had Ghanaian teachers. And in my class...
Ghanaian teacher, where did you grow up?
In Lagos. Surulere.
Where in Lagos? Surulere.
Surulere. But it's, yeah. So we had one in particular who loved the arts and who would not just make us read some of those Shakespearean stories. He would, tell us to come out and, have a little play and all that. So that spurred the interest. Coupled with the fact that I've always been a great dancer. Yeah, okay.
No.
Really now?
Okay. You'll be surprised what he said he can do.
Okay. Do you know when you said you'll be surprised what he said he can do? A character came into mind.
Well, Pooh?
No, not even Pooh. I'm trying to remember his name now. The other teddy bear. The mischievous one.
Ted?
Yes, Ted.
Ted.
That was not that was
So when you mentioned dancing, I could just see him going. But really, looking at Ted, for example, we know most times Ted goes nude. And
Ted is nude.
Yes, he's always in his bed.
There are times he tries to wear something. but then, of course, that brings me to something you once said. You talked about, you already know what is coming, right? You talked about the fact that you wouldn't mind acting nude if the role required.
Yeah.
Has that changed, or you are still confident?
I'm still very confident if it's required. If it's required, and not just for the commercial impact it may have, or like 12 years a slave, Lupita, slaves were flogged naked.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do that, I would go naked. But then other factors need to come into place to make sure I can go naked comfortably. And when I go to the bank, my bank too will be happy being naked.
What's your dream role, apart from playing Ojukwu, which of course you killed from the first one we've seen? What else would be that role that you're looking for to embody?
India and me.
No.
Like, what you're definitely going to do.
I was leading there. Yeah. I was leading there because I think and it's unfortunate that this is a villainous character.
Yes.
But Idi Amin, if you read about Idi Amin, there's much more than meets the eye with this guy who was an ex-champion boxer and everything, found himself inside of the army by many means, and then became a general, also becoming the president. His character is a very powerful one.
Yes, indeed.
Did Whittaker was it Whittaker? Who was it now? Was it Whittaker? I can't remember who played him. It was Whittaker, wasn't it?
Not quite sure. No.
But I'm yet to find, or I'm looking forward to seeing who is going to embody that character next again. Because I've read so much about African dictators, and Idi Amin stands out.
It stands out, and for me, I'm just hoping, because I've even got to play Asari Dokubo. The film, for some reason, I haven't seen Up Creek Without the Paddle.
I've seen that one.
Something, yeah. So, I enjoyed, living there.
You do look like Asari, actually.
You're somebody who could actually embody the characters of certain eminent personalities. Yeah. And each time you mention these individuals, I already see you in those. But then I just have to point out something, especially regarding the Nigerian industry. I remember there was a time when there was this talk about ritual happenings in movies and how the industry is to be blamed. And I remember you're one of those who spoke about it, mentioning the fact that, the industry is not to blame for people doing that. But do you really believe that the industry is not to blame? Because many children today, when they tell you about the movies that affect their lives the most, the movies they remember, they don't remember the ones where Liz Benson was hanging out with Richard Mokpedamijo. They tend to remember the I am a Tanga. So would you really say, based on this, that the movie industry has no effect, no influence on that?
I would say that because many of this, practically all that I ever saw, always ended up with resolution that they pay for the crime, which is a deterrent to that. So if we're going to do that, then we're going to blame everything. We're going to blame robbery on movies. We're going to blame drug use on movies. We're going to blame...
The robbery part, a young man claimed to have been inspired by... What's the name of that actor now? He said that's the person that inspired him to go into robbery. So those are the things that made the board say, you know what, the movie industry has a lot of responsibility.
I think another major, it just popped into my head, another major thing is that many parents, and I think parents should listen very well, every movie has a rating.
Thank you.
Many parents don't do
it.
that. They don't buy a movie because they are enjoying it. And the movie is even meant for their age grade. They put it there and they allow their kids to watch. And at a certain age, your mind can't really discern between reality and fiction. So maybe if we look at it from that point, that some parents, some guardians didn't, protect them from certain content.
I agree with you, absolutely. That's just the way I see it.
At the end of the day, it's not now Nollywood, it is the guardians.
All right.
You know what? At this
you
point, I should say a very big thank you to you. But you're not leaving yet.
No.
First off, we're going to take a look at some of his work, like just have a feel of Greg Ojefua. And in the meantime, we'll head to the kitchen for breakfast.
Oh, now you're talking.
Let's check out his works.